Okay, this is my explanation of the game of Baccarat as well as the system that I use in playing Baccarat. Baccarat seems like it's kind of confusing to me when I first see it in the casino. I didn't understand it, but it's actually a very simple game. What's going to happen is the player, the dealer is going to deal out two cards to the player and two cards to the banker. And based on a defined set of rules that you know, nobody can vary. I mean, they're set. They'll determine whether they draw up to a third card each. And then you are basically just betting on whether you think the player hand's going to be higher or the banker hand's going to be higher. The you know the way what determines the cards. It's similar to blackjack and what the card values are. However, the difference is that you can't go over like you can in blackjack. It just, you look at the one spot. That's it. So if it's a 7 and a 4, that's 11. Well, it counts as a 1. Whereas if it's, you get, 10, jack, and a 7, well, if you count that in blackjack, that'd be 27. But in Baccarat, that just counts as a 7. Okay? So, you can also bet on ties, but don't ever bet on ties. It pays 9 to 1. That's great. You just don't bet on ties. What happens if you bet on the player and the player has a higher score? Then you'll win 1 to 1. All right. If you bet on player and it comes out that they tie, it's a push. So if you bet $5 on player and player wins, you win $5 or you pull back $10. If you bet $5 on player and it comes up a tie, well, it's a push. So you'll pull back your $5. If, I don't oversimplify this, but if you put $5 on player and banker wins, you obviously are going to lose it. Now, there is a slight advantage. I believe, there's decimal points involved, but it's like 45% of the time the banker's going to win, 44% of the time, approximately, the player's going to win, and then the remaining 9% or so, are going to be ties. So, basically the system I use is I bet on either the player or the banker for a run of 3. I look for a run of 3, and then I switch to the opposite side. So if you had 3 player runs in a row, you start betting on the banker, and you bet $5, and then you go 15, then you start doubling at 30, 60, 125. The max on this table is 250, and I don't recommend ever going over $250, because if you bet 250 and you lose, and you will lose eventually, you're going to lose $500. The key to this is to set strict winning limits and strict losing limits. I typically win $250 in about half hour, 45 minutes playing this way. I get more hands on the computer than I would in real life, but I don't really like playing on the computer for real money. I don't trust it. So, although this is bovada.lv, that is supposed to be one of the best sites, most trustworthy sites out there. So, anyway, I'm starting to lose this. So I'm going to go ahead and start. I'm just going to pick player first. It doesn't really matter. But I bet $5. Okay. And you can see the player won. So I rebet that. I lost. You can see over here the history. And to be honest, a lot of times I don't even look at the cards. I just look at the history. So I'm just looking for a run of 3. You can see I started with $1,000. I've got 1,010 now. Let me roll this down a little bit. I apologize for this crude video setup, but I don't know much about videos. I just know, Anyway, but I started with $1,000. You really only need to start with about 500, maybe 525, 530, and you got to be willing to lose that, because you might lose it. But I've done this, and my system works at around. I've done it about 100 times, 79 times, I think, and I've made money. I stop at $250, and I make that about you know, about 4 out of every 5 times. So about 80% of the time, I make I make $250 and then I walk away. You know, every once in a while I'm going to lose $500, but by that time, hopefully I'm up $1,000, you know, or something like that, and I'm net up $500. Anyway, let's keep betting on this. So we're at 2 player wins in a row. That was a tie, so that doesn't count. Ties don't count. So we're still at 2 player wins in a row. Okay, we got 3 player wins. You can see there's 1, 2. That's a tie that doesn't count because we got our money back on that. And then play someone with a banker. I'm going to bet $5. Okay, player 1 again, so now I bet 15. Player 1 again, so now I bet 30. This takes a lot of kahunas to bet this way, even though it's play money. But, you know, I just lost 30, so I'm going to bet 60. Well, I lost 60, so I bet 125. Holy cow, I can't believe I'm hitting this bad run so quick. So 250, that's the max bet you can have. And I won. I won that one. So I'm up $17.15. And I'm like, oh, but I'm telling you, that's rare that you have to go that far. So we're just gonna keep playing this. And then after I break a run, you get more than 3 in a row, I call it a run. And after you break the run, oops, sorry about that. You have to just start again at $5, and I always start in that same area where I broke the run at because I feel like it's due. And I know you saying due is just stupid, but there we got to run a 3 bankers in a row. So I'm gonna go to player, and I won. Okay, here you could go back to banker because there's only been 3 bankers versus 6 players, but the way I look at it is everything is an independent roll. It's like flipping a coin. Everything, you know, the coin doesn't have a memory, and you know, the way I look at it is you're already a third of the way to your run. So I'm just going to stick with banker or stick with betting on the player, and just keep doing that. Just keep doing it. Don't switch away from there. We got 2 players. Obviously, I hope you figured this out by now. I should have stopped and told you. But aces count as 1 or 11, and 8s count as 8, obviously. So 8 and 1 is 19, or 8 and 11 is 8 and 1 is 9, or 8 and 11 is 19, whatever. The 1 spot is still a 9, and 9 2 is a 1. So the player won that hand. So we're going to keep betting. And then here, 7 and 9 is 16, 6. Queen and 10 is 20. That's 5, so 25. So that just counts as a 5. So player won that because you just look at the 1 spot. That doesn't count. It's a tie, so it doesn't count. And the reason I play this system is I looked on wizardofodds.com or .net or whatever it is. Just do Google Wizard of Odds if you're worried about it. And then and I found that the odds, there's 3 players in a row, so I'm Will Banker. And I found the odds, in order to lose the $500, you'd have to have a run of 9 player or banker bets in a row, at least 9. If they tie, it might even be more than that, because ties don't count. Sorry, we're going to 15 because we lost the 5. And the odds of that are like 500 and something to 1. So, you know, I mean, it's just extremely unusual. It happens. It does happen, and you will eventually lose $500 when you do that. But, you know, going with the odds. So you can see right now I'm up $60.50 playing this way. And I've been doing this for 9 minutes, and I've been talking half the time. So now, when you go to casino, you're not going to get the, you know, they only get I think they only get 3 or 4 hands in a minute, and I can get a lot more than that in here. This looks like Okay. Now, when you're betting on one side or the other, like right now, I'm betting on the banker. If 3-player wins come up in a row, I'm going to lose money on that run. Here, I got 3 bankers in a row, so I'm going to bet $5 on the player. But you're going to minimize your losses. Hopefully, you only lose about $5-10. But as you can see right now, I'm up $69.75. And I just ended a run. There's a run of 3 bankers, and I ended it with a player win. So I'm going to keep going. Keep going. Keep going. I'm playing this on my iPad because I think it's faster than if you play on a computer. It's about the same, but it's a little bit faster on the iPad. But that also makes me use this rig set up to record with any stability. And I know the video recording, the quality is not as good, but it's still not bad. Okay, so now I was betting on player, but we have a run of 3 bankers. We're going to keep up the same system, the 5, 15, 30, 60, 125, 250, because that's going to give us, but we're going to lose money here, but we're not going to lose, hopefully it's only going to be like $5 or $10. So I'm just going to rebet $5. It looks like I'm betting 4 in a row, but I'm really just betting, starting the system out again. There's, now you go 15. I won that. And I think I was at 174. I didn't look, but I think I was at 174 before that run started. So I lost $5 there. But I'm gambling, so you're not going to win every time. Somebody tells you they're winning, you're going to win all the time. Vegas wouldn't build on winners. But I do think this Baccarat in general is the best odds in Vegas, I believe. And playing this system, you're playing with the odds instead of against them. So I'm going to start off again. Keep betting player. Okay, that doesn't count because it's a tie. Okay, so now I've got 3-player wins in a row. So I go back over to banker. I bet $5. I lost. And that's almost good. I mean, it's never good to lose. But, if you're going to lose, because if you bet, you won 3 players in a row, that's $15. And if you won that, that's $20. Well, you won 3 in a row here. If you lose, if you get a run of 4 like that, you get 3 in a row, that's 15. Then you lost 5 over here. And then if the 15 hits, you will have made, instead of just $20, you would have made $25. 15 minus 5 is 10. Plus you're going to make, it's not quite 15. It's going to be 14.70, 14.25 or whatever. But you will have made more money. I mean, you don't ever want to lose, but if you're going to lose, that's when you want to lose. And it's going to stay the same. You're going to make the same amount of money as you bet this. Boy, I don't like that. Oh, jeez, that sucks. This is 250. There's a run of 8. Hope it doesn't hit. If it does, you will have lost $411. But you won. There you won. So now you're up $77.25. Okay, so then you just go back to 5s. I mean, like I said, you're gonna run into that every once in a while. But that's why I play the way I do, because and you just gotta trust the system. I think I was at $72 when I started this run. Okay, there's 3 players in a row. This has been hot on players the last 20 hands or so. But we're going to start again. We're going to lose money, but we're hopefully not going to lose that much. Okay, like I said, I think I started with 72, so I lost around $5. We're gonna keep starting a new run. We're gonna try looking for a new run, so we're gonna keep betting banker. Obviously, we want the run to be in where we're betting. I mean, you figured that out by now, I'm sure. Now, typically when it goes between banker player, you're basically breaking even. You can see I started with what, 66 something. I've lost a little bit because there's a commission involved in this, but 65. I lost $1. Whatever, you know. Just keep going with where you're at on the run you're on. You know, don't switch between banker and player because you think player's hotter. You know, all that's going to come out in the wash. And now let's see, I got 3 players in a row, so I'm going to start. I'm going to lose money here, but hopefully it's not going to be very much. Yeah, see, I lost. I think I started with 66. I lost a little over $6, about $6, $5 or $6, but I'm still up $60. So, and you know, you can do this obviously with. You know, I don't feel comfortable losing more than $500. But if you wanted to play a $15 table or something like that, it's most of the Baccarat tables are in the high roller section where there's like $100 limit, $100 minimum. You know, then you got to have like $5,000 you're willing to lose, or $10,000 or something like that. And I'm just not at that stage. Just trying to have fun. I'm not trying to retire. I have more fun when I win. So we'll keep betting $5 here. A lot of the stuff where you just don't have a run one way or the other. I just assume not have a run unless it's a run for me. But that's a run for the player when I'm betting. Yeah. So I lost another $5 or $6. I'm still at $53 though. And I just really have experience. There's a run of bankers, 3 bankers. You know, in the long run. I don't know how the system loses, to be honest with you. Okay, so we're betting on player. We won that. We were at $67 when that player run ended. Okay, we had 3 players in a row, so we're going to go to banker. Lost that, so now we go 15, 30, 60, 125. And we ended the run. So we're just going to stay over on the banker. We're up to $87 right now. We'll stay over in the banker. We had 3 run of 3 bankers. So we're going to go to the player now. That doesn't count because it's a push. It's a tie. So we're just going to rebet that $5 on the player. It's tempting. I know it's tempting to say, oh, well, I'm going to bet more so I can win more. And that'll work most of the time. But you're going to end up losing money in the long run. You're going to run into one of those. You saw that run I had earlier where I had to go up to bet $250. I usually don't have to bet even $100. It usually stops at $60. But you can see right now we're up $101.50. I'm going to keep playing because I set my YouTube settings so I can record videos longer than 15 minutes, which I've already been up to 20 minutes now. But you can tell the system's working pretty well for me right now. At $5 on the player, we keep betting that. We won that. So we're going to bet with the run of 3, so we're going to banker, $5. We won that, so we're just going to rebet $5 on the banker. Now that doesn't count, so we're still on a run of 2 because that's a push. Now, see, I feel like I'm just wasting time here, but I really do want to see how long I can get the. And like I said, I usually stop at when I get to around $250. And it takes me usually about a half hour, 45 minutes, and I've been talking half the time. It seems like I've been explaining this half the time, so it usually doesn't take this long to get up to $100. Okay, we got to run 3 players, and we're betting banker, so we're going to lose money here, but we're not going to. Hopefully, we're going to minimize it. So I think we were at like 120 when we started the run. We had 114 now, so we lost a little money. But you know, I've said it before. I'll keep saying it. You know, you're gambling. You just gotta have patience when you do this. I mean, and I think that's the problem with most people. That's why Vegas is so popular. People don't have patience. They don't want to learn new stuff. That's why they play the slot machines. Jesus, I get frustrated whenever I see people playing slots, but I guess they're paying for me to play this way, so I shouldn't be that upset. I don't remember where we were when we ended the last run, but I think we were at $114. And we haven't hit our run of 3 yet, so we're going to keep doing this. And I think a run of 3 is important because I think that's, you can play a run of 4 if you want, and that'd be even safer. You wouldn't lose any more than $500, but you wouldn't make money near as quickly. And because, run of 4s are relatively rare. I mean, you'd be more likely to keep your money, but I think this is, like a run of 9 players or bankers. Like I said, it's like 500 to 1. But if you do want to play, or you could stop at $200. The sooner you stop, the less likely you are to lose, obviously. But because the longer you play, the more likely you will run into a run where you lose everything. Like I almost did twice. But now it still counts as 2 bankers. It doesn't matter now. That's a run of 3 players in a row. You can see that was 3 players in a row. So I still would have gone $5 on the banker, which I won. I'm down to the new run starting at $125. Okay, I got 3 bankers in a row, so I'm going to go to player. I'll bet $5. I'm up to $140. So I'm going to keep betting the player now. And it's I know that it's tempting to keep playing the player because you don't have to pay that commission, but it's really not worth it. It's just not worth it. And it's tempting to play a tie every once in a while when you haven't seen a tie for a long time, but it's just not worth it. It's just not worth it. Okay, now I've had, that was a run of 3 bankers. Now it's 4, so now I got to pay $15. I started with 140. I basically broke even on that one. And it's just the way the cards laid before I ran into this run of 3. So I'm gonna start again at 5 again. Okay, so there's a run of 3 players. So I'm gonna go to banker. $15 is a tie, so it doesn't count. So just rebet 15, and you won. You're up to $159. You can't see that because of this rigged up system I'm using to record this, but there's $159.50. So I'm gonna keep betting $5. We'll go back to $5 because I broke the run. And I'm gonna break this video off because you know, I'm just gonna keep doing this till I get to $250. Play it yourself. Bovada is the one I use because it's, you know, the reviews I've read said that's the best way to, that's the most trustworthy site. But like I said, you're going to run into a system where or you're going to run into a run one time where you're going to lose all $500. But I wouldn't go more than 500. And this system, I've been doing this for about 3 or 4 months now. I've been working on this for about 3 or 4 months, and this seems to be the system that most routinely wins me money. Like I said, I generally stop at 250 when I get to $250, and I win 4 to 5 times before I lose. I get into one of those runs where I lose all 500. Well, if I win 4 times, that's $1,000 at least. Maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit less, but around $1,000. And when I lose, I generally don't lose $500. Generally, I'm up $100, and then I'll lose. So I generally only lose like $300 and some dollars. But it's possible to lose $500. I mean, I'm not, it's possible to lose $500 in the first 9 rolls, nine plays that you have. But it's not very likely. And I think this is the best system that I have for playing. And I hope you can win money doing this. All right. Let me know what you think.